By now, we've all been bombarded with more than 8 years of shocking and unprecedented stories involving Donald J. Trump. The consequences have been an accelerant on our polarization, division, and distrust of fact. We've also become desensitized to the obscene, that in a normal world would cripple a campaign and disqualify a candidate. But in the bizarre world of Trumpism, for nearly half of this country, it elicits a shrug.
Right, when you have a character like Donald Trump, on one hand, you have to cover some of the things he's saying and doing, but how do you do it in a way that doesn't give him the megaphone? Do you think we've gotten better? What can we do better?
So here's what I think happened. I think America has blurred the lines between news and entertainment for so long that at some point entertainment took over and became the news. And if there's one thing Donald Trump has always known how to do, it's how to be entertaining. And you look at the very inception, the very beginning of the idea of Donald Trump being on the news, it was campaigns reaching out to CNN and saying, hey, you need a cover. This is funny. This is great for us. I think a lot of Democrats have to look at themselves and say, why did we encourage this? You know, I've spoken about this on my show. The fact that there are still Democratic, machines that are funding extreme Republicans, like basically putting them forward, I think it's gross negligence.
Do you miss doing the Daily Show?
I mean, it's really wild. I'm actually in Washington, D.C. doing shows right now, and I never thought I would travel to D.C. to get away from the chaos that's affecting America. It's really wild because New York has turned into a full-on circus right now, and America is in a really strange position where, at the same time when everyone's preparing for a presidential race, one of the races might end up in prison. That's a strange place to be in for any country, I think. So, it's been quite a circus to follow.
This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. And they mean it. Even though, without question, my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. And there's a lot of hatred there. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders must have to lead. We know what that is. It's a special quality.
And I want to get your take on, because I'm sure you do too, is people around the world just cannot believe this. They just keep asking, how is he allowed to run? Why is he not in prison? What do you say to people that you talk to around the world?
Well, the one thing I'll say is this. I know this is it's going to sound strangely counterintuitive, but in many ways, this is a great example of America working well. Because I don't know many other countries where a former president would be held accountable for anything, So, on the one hand, I see people panicking and saying, like, this is the end of America. And I go like, well, actually, it shows that America is a functioning democracy where, it really is right now showing that nobody is above the law, which is what it's supposed to be. And, how it turns out or how it pans out, nobody knows. But I don't know, in a strange way, you only know that a system is working when you actually put it to the test, right? So, how do you know if the elevator brakes work or not until the cable snaps? I guess now we'll find out.
I guess, unless he gets away with it all, then. But I mean, he's already been adjudicated a rapist and a business fraud, and he's still, obviously the Republican nominee.
After 2 assassination attempts in just over 3 months, her lies and her slanders are very shameful and really inexcusable. And I can say that if I were president and somebody was being threatened, openly threatened like they've threatened me, I would say, if you do that, even if this was an opponent who I disliked, if you do that, we will obliterate your entire country, and it would all stop.
You know, forget everything else that you're trying to do in life. It is grossly negligent to say, I believe this person is going to destroy democracy. But you know what I'll do? I'm going to take money that people have donated to our campaigns and use it to prop them up because I think they will be easier to beat. But are you willing to take the risk that this person may be easier to beat? You don't remember what happened with Donald Trump? It turned out he was a lot harder to beat than you thought. And so, you know, when it comes to the grading, I don't grade anybody because I'm not a master at this. I don't even claim to be. But I look at what people could do differently. I think the media learned a lesson. I think every news outlet went, oh, wow, we thought it was a joke. We played with the joke, and now he turned it on us.